Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. I felt like we had sent our consciousness into the cloud on Friday. Apparently, us being a little slow on Friday after the OG birthday bash was not lost on some of our listeners. Do I have that right, Joe?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes with the self-scout, you realize it's not your fastball, right? Throw away the tape, burn the tape.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was one of those, but it was energy levels were low.
I wonder why.
Here's my notes. Energy levels low.
Could it be?
We're old.
We're old. We probably drank too much. We stayed out late on a school night. All sorts of reasons why we were a little slow.
Went a little too hard
on Friday. But don't worry, we're bringing the energy level today.
Oh, we are radioing this thing up like nobody's ever radioed before. Let's go. Everything.
Tell me we've hit off-season protocols without telling me we've hit off-season protocols. We are out of the gate with the lightning round, but not just any lightning round, Joe. As we look around the NHL, we're going to talk to Sara Civian here in a little bit to talk specifically about the Carolina Hurricanes. But in the world of hockey, if you're going to do local, we'll show you how to do local. Joe, present.
All right, let's start with Eric Tulsky was right. Okay. Even though the Winnipeg Jets come back to win this game, you'll recall we had a conversation with Eric Tulsky after they originally had acquired Mikko Rantanen. More on him in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But let's start with Eric Tulsky was right. He's told us you don't have to have the Vezina Trophy winner, a.k.a. the league's top goalie, to win the Stanley Cup. And he even pointed out, like, often the team with the Vezina winner doesn't win the Stanley Cup. Now, there's a lot of Lightning fans out there going like, yeah, hey, guys, we got a couple of them with Vasilevsky.
Hi.
We can do it. It can be done. But his point being, if the rest of your team isn't very good, hello, Winnipeg Jets, then it doesn't really matter how good your goalie is. So anyway, that made me laugh out loud that here, Hellebuyck was having the problems and the struggles that he's had in the first round against the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
And I know what you're thinking. Giglio, the Blues are a plucky group and they won the cup in 2019. Yeah, they have like zero of those players other than their own goalie who failed them in the third period of this game last night. So
no, but Joe, that's the most dangerous lead in hockey.
The 3-1 lead.
I mean, Jacob and I were watching that game last night, and he's like, oh, he just makes some comments like, well, I guess this game 7 isn't all that exciting. I think there was like 7 minutes to go. And I say, whoa, Jacob. 3-1. I don't want that lead. Watch. I should have put $5 down, honestly.
Yeah.
My mistake.
You should have, because the ending of this game was bonkers.
Insane.
Just as the game on Saturday between the Stars and the Avs was bonkers. But the Jets score, I believe it was 1.6 seconds left.
Yeah.
In regulation to tie the game.
I didn't stay out for the whole overtime.
And then they go to the second overtime and they end up winning a fairly standard seeing eye goal in overtime. But yeah, I'm watching this game and they're down early. They're down 2-0. Hellebuyck gave up 2 goals in the first 5 minutes of this game. Like he literally had shit running down his leg in the first 5 minutes of this game.
Oh, I mean, look, I've said this before, and to Tulsky's point, it can't just all be one thing. It can't all be goaltending.
Yes.
And even the guys that you lock in as like, well, if we just had this guy, you see them have those moments. That's why I always say goaltending is voodoo. That's a topic we'll get into with Civian regarding Freddie Andersen, as it appears the Carolina Hurricanes are, as one of our listeners pointed out, kicking that can down the road when it comes to goaltending, or you're just being realistic about what the goalie market is right now, and you can really screw yourself if you overpay, make the mistake, trade away assets, all that kind of stuff. Now, you mentioned the other Game 7.
Well, before we get to the other Game 7,
because that one has an even more interesting Kane connection.
I know, and so we're on the Tulskys, right? We're also on like Giglio / Rod Brendamore is right.
Oh, there's that too. Yeah,
because you'll recall the Winnipeg Jets won the President's Trophy, and I like to tell you people that you don't want to win the President's Trophy. In fact, the Stanley Cup champion has not won the President's Trophy since 2013. And it's only been done 8 times. Okay. So no thank you on the President's Trophy. And there's probably a reason for that. You're expending all your energy, trying to put together the best season, maybe the most points in NHL history. Those teams have also lost the Stanley Cup.
It could also just be really simple. Hockey's dumb.
Hockey is dumb.
Hockey's dumb. But you just don't want it.
I say I don't want it. And Maniscalco loves to kind of scoff at me when I say that.
I know.
But listen to this from April 2nd, when the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Washington Capitals, who at the time were in a race with the Winnipeg Jets to win the President's Trophy. If you're unfamiliar with the President's Trophy, it goes to the NHL in 1985 decided, you know what? The Stanley Cup is the coolest fucking trophy in all of sports. But you know what we really need? We need something to commemorate who's the best team during the regular season. Like, thank you for the condom with a hole in it. Like, what do I need a President's Trophy for? Okay? So I'm not the only one who says, get out of here with this cockamamie trophy. Here's Rod Brindamore from after they beat the Capitals back on April 2nd.
I don't know what they're really playing for anymore, maybe first overall, but everybody knows that's, so that's probably why we caught him at the start.
But everybody knows, and he catches himself.
Look, this is the same man that in the 06 Cup run, he was the captain that time as opposed to 02 when Ron Francis picks up the Eastern Conference trophy. What is it? The Prince of Wales trophy. He's like, hey, cool. Ron's like, I'm good, man. Ron's like, hell freaking no. So in 06, they wanted nothing to do with touching that trophy. Rod Brindamore is the same guy that I had to explain what getting to the Final Four means, or like what getting to a conference championship means in football. It's like, what's the big deal? I'm like, it's levels to this, man. I get it. Like you think one thing and one thing only, and that's the Stanley Cup. And obviously that's the way he's wired. And obviously I'm not shocked that he to this day is very much like, why do I want that trophy? There's only one trophy I want.
So we get this bonkers, insane finish last night in Winnipeg. Oh, and it really somehow outdid the bonkers, insane finish from Saturday down in Dallas, because the Avalanche were up 2-0 with, let's look here, 6 minutes left. No, they were up 2-0 in the third period, and then Mikko Rantanen.
Oh yeah, that guy
scores the first of 3 goals to get the Stars back in it. He scored a power play goal to tie the game. They got another late power play from our friend Jack Drury. Was called for a holding penalty, and interference penalty. I'm like, and he's and he's obviously, no matter what team he plays for, he's going to be their best. He's going to be their best penalty killer, right? So he's in the box, just painful, while Dallas scores another goal. While the Avalanche's the New Jersey goalie Blackwood was just kind of melting in the third period of this game. And then, of course, the empty net specialist, as Luke likes to point out, Mikko Rantanen, comes in and completes the hat trick. And now it's like, you got the Dallas GM out there like, this is why we paid him all that money. This is why we went and got him. It's like, Mikko, blah, 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 blah. So, I still think he's Yari Curry, but you got to tip your hat to him when it comes to this and the way that he played in this game.
A hat trick is a hat trick. That's fine. Give him all the credit in the world. They don't do it without his play, but cool. I guess the Canes have to shut down now.
If you really want to radio it up, it's like, who won the trade?
Who won the trade? I mean, right now, I think Canes fans would tell you, we still won the trade because we got guys who want to be here, which is always important. Over to the NBA, where we had another Game 7. This one not as exciting unless you're a Buddy Hield fan. Huge Buddy Hield guy over here. Steph Curry was also really good too.
Yeah, but the poor Rockets. This is a classic team on the come up. The young team, the good young coach too.
Yes,
and guy shepherding the young team through the playoff wilderness, and they come up in a Game 7. Styles make fights, man. And I should have known yesterday to put the house on the Warriors. Instead, I bet on the Cavaliers. Oh, speaking of teams who didn't know what the heck they were doing.
No.
It's like, no, here's a Game 7 with a grizzled veteran team against these super green Rockets, you moron.
So I think that's the jumping off point that I thought was interesting, is I think it ties into LeBron James and what's going to happen in the NBA. I know we don't spend a lot of time talking about the NBA on the podcast. That's not to say that we don't keep up with what's going on. And I was listening to Bomani's podcast on Friday. Bomani went somewhat viral, actually went viral twice last week, one over a Shedeur Sanders take, and then the other one over JJ Redick. that JJ Redick essentially is not built for this, that awful announcing did JJ Redick dirty over the weekend. I don't know if you saw this or not, but they essentially took clips from his first take appearances when he was an ESPN analyst, where he was roasting every coach possible. And then now he finds himself in that situation where he looks like he is not equipped to handle the even keel nature of what you have to be an NBA coach, or also understand the egos and massaging of personalities to get them to be dialed in. And that's what's going to be interesting going forward, in that you've got two guys that are very mercurial, if you will. LeBron James, where he is in his career, he's got 1 year left on his contract. He can opt into that contract. But if you're the Lakers, I'm wondering if you want him to opt into that contract, because at some point, LeBron James, there's only so much you're going to get out of him. I know he was a second team all NBA guy. I know he still has his moments in the playoffs, clearly. But the Lakers have to decide, well, what do you want to be? And if you want to be Luka's team, I don't know where LeBron James necessarily fits in for that. But then again, to get back to the JJ Redick, as he built for this, he's already talking about commitment to fitness, commitment to work, commitment to basically all the red flags about Luka that we've discussed over the years, right? So all that stuff is playing out very, very interestingly. But I think the central question is, to the point about veterans, sometimes veterans are a boon. Steph Curry in the moment, Draymond Green in the moment. They know what they're doing. In a game 7, yeah, I'm going to take the crusty old vets over the young team on the come up. Okay. Where does LeBron James fit in that going forward? Because if he opts out, where exactly would he go? Where exactly is he a fit? Where is he in a position where he can be a vet off the bench and not necessarily the central focus? Because there's a debate as to whether he can even be your number 2 guy at this point.
Well, speaking on the Lakers, the flaw with the Lakers is you have 2 really good players who do the same thing, right? And they need the ball in their hands.
Yeah.
You can get around that flaw if you have the right people around those players. Now, the Lakers don't have any size, so they're not a team that's going to be great defensively. If LeBron at 40 is your best defender, it's probably an issue, right? They don't have enough shooters around him, and then the shooters they are trying to use aren't great defenders, so you see the conundrum there. With a full off season, if I'm the Lakers, do I think I have a straighter path to winning a championship with those 2 players, with LeBron James? I think the answer is it depends. Because it depends on how creative you can be on what you build around Luka Doncic. We've already seen Luka Doncic carry a team to the NBA Finals. Now, they lost to the Boston Celtics, who I do think will repeat. So there's no shame in losing to the Boston Celtics. I believe it was in 6 games. There's no shame in that. But I think the Lakers would actually be better off having LeBron take the option and then trade him. I do think there are teams.
Well, he's got to know movement, though. I guess it becomes where you want to go.
He could sign off.
Yeah, I guess he can sign off.
But that's a $50 million cap hit. Think about what you can build around Doncic with $50 million. Doncic has already proven he doesn't need another star to win, but he does need the complementary parts around him. The Lakers, when they made the move, were hamstrung in how they were able to build around him. You can make the same argument for LeBron James. I think he can help a team win in a situation where, because he has to have the ball. I still think he can help a team win. I don't think you want him as your number 1.
One last rodeo in Miami. Come on. The second coming home.
The second return.
The second return. He did it with Cleveland. Can he come back to Miami and resuscitate Heat culture? Because if there's nothing, LeBron would love nothing more if we're all in a Star Wars mode right now.
Yes.
You know, he was the student. The smartest thing Shannon Penn, our old producer on radio, who's now with ESPN, said during his time with the Miami Heat, LeBron's time with the Miami Heat, is that LeBron never went to college. So the 4 years he spent in Miami with Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade was his 4 years of college. And he left like a learned man. Like, I'll show you how to win. I'm taking my culture with this. Of course, it's not that simple. So I can envision a scenario as down bad as the Miami Heat are right now, and how they got blown out. And the Heat culture myth is just gone. It's just up in smoke. I can envision a scenario where LeBron and Pat get together and say, all right, I'm going to use your culture, what I've learned. Let's go one last time. Let's bring it on home. See how it works.
And with Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, those are the exact types of parts that he needs
just
around
say
him.
It. I've just flown that out there.
There are many topics for lightning round today on OG.
To the NFL, where Washington is having a moment. It was announced that they are going to get the 2027 NFL draft. It will likely be on the Mall. You want to talk about a scene? Whoosh. Have you ever hung out on the Mall for like an event? Like I've done July 4th on the Mall.
No,
I've done that.
no.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Now, it's going to be hilarious if they do this on the Mall. You get the kind of crowd you would get for like an inauguration. And then we're going to start getting the comparisons and contrast, the compare and contrast of various presidential inaugurations and who showed up for what. It would be hilarious to me if the NFL draft gets more people at the Mall to watch some name get announced than you would an inauguration. That'd be pretty funny to me.
I'm kind of skittish about crowds on the Mall post January 6th. So that's just me.
I mean, if the Jets picked the wrong guy, I could see them losing their minds. That would be a thing, right? That would definitely be a thing.
No, but the real key with Washington is they've decided they're going to go back to RFK, or at least where the land is for RFK, which if you've never been to DC is like, what is it? Maybe a half mile from downtown.
Yeah, but as we know, Washington D.C.
is inside of 395. Is basically what it is.
Washington D.C. is the greatest mind trick ever played on distance.
Yes.
Right? Because you could see everything. You're like, oh. Well, this is the Washington Monument is right over there. We'll just walk to it. No, you won't. No, you won't. Oh, but the Lincoln Memorial, I can see it. No. You don't want to walk to that. That's a walk. I've done it with the kids. That's a walk. You don't want to do that. RFK, I would classify in the same boat. That's a metro stop. That ain't a walk. You're taking the metro, that bad boy.
But it's not Landover. It's actually DC proper.
Yes.
And it's not in the greatest section of it. That was always kind of one of the issues as well, where
gentrification
RFK
continues.
has been.
Yeah.
But I saw this clip and I thought to myself, now where have I heard this very specific conundrum presented before?
So say what you want about Washington. In Landover, it's all one big parking surface type thing. So there's a tailgating culture that has existed in Washington.
Yes.
You got nothing else going for you.
Oh.
So you might as well enjoy your tailgate.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar? Huh. Let's continue, shall we?
22,000 parking spaces at Northwest Stadium. They're going to go down to approximately 8 in DC. And as you pointed out, they say that they'll start with a little surface parking, but it'll all eventually be in structures. I asked a Commanders official, will you be able to tailgate if you're there? This person basically said, look, we will figure out how to make it a tailgating experience in a parking structure. I don't know. They did not have details on what that would look like. If that doesn't work out, they can go to the area, the stadium district we're going to develop right in front of the area, and they can tailgate there, which obviously would be in team developed places. So what does tailgating look like? How do people get to the park, especially if there's only going to be 8,000 parking spaces? Because that's the inherent cost of centrality and getting the emotional spot that appeals to people.
Sorry, I was too caught off guard by the fact that guy sounded a lot like Brian Geisinger, but that's neither here nor there. That all sounded really familiar.
Has that happened anywhere else?
No, I can't think of a place where that's happening.
The team developed district parking structures right down. I mean, I'm just disappointed he's using their language. It's a parking deck.
It's a parking deck, man. One other NFL note. As we're here in the lightning round, it looks like the tush push gets one more year. This is from Mark Mask over at the Washington Post. NFL owners are expected to consider a revised proposal this month to prohibit a teammate from pushing or pulling the ball carrier anywhere on the field. The reworked proposal, if ratified by the owners, would serve to ban the push the quarterback sneak, that is the signature play of the Eagles. But it would go further than that and also prohibit offensive linemen from running down the field to shove a ball carrier forward for extra yardage in a pileup at the end of a play. The owners are scheduled to meet on May 20th and 21st in Minneapolis for their regularly quarterly meeting. The proposal would have to be approved by at least 24 of the 32 owners. Y'all know how I stand on this. It's a one-team thing. Other teams have tried to do it. They cannot do it. So I think it's actually targeting of one particular franchise that has a play that they understand and they can execute better than anybody else. Because if the tush push was that easy, we would see other teams be able to accomplish it. They can't. So enough with this stuff.
It's two different things, but it's really kind of, you can't have one without the other.
Okay.
It used to be illegal to push a player or to run into the pile the way that we see it now.
Right.
And as someone whose high school football career ended on this type of play, that was a penalty back in 1992.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. Okay. And I understand that the running down the field full sprint and hitting somebody is different from the push.
That's a totally different
I do
thing.
understand that, but if you write into the letter of the law, you can't aid a carrier, which is the way that it used to be, then you can't have one without the other. So I understand what your point is about the Eagles and why are we punishing them for being smarter. I would also say, look at baseball with the shift allegedly being smarter. Like sometimes you have to do things that have to help the game itself. And I think this is one of those examples. Now that they've changed the kickoff rules the way that they have, this is not the tush push, but the idea of being able to aid a runner and run full speed into a pile has now become the most dangerous play in football.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
I don't get it.
And if
we care about player safety until we don't.
To your point, if the Eagles were not so good at executing this one particular play, or if Jalen Hurts has a catastrophic injury because of it, then it would go away. This is, again, back to my original point. This is a one specific instance. Nobody else can do it. So don't punish the Eagles for it. It's not why they won the Super Bowl.
No,
it's not why they won it. If you're of the opinion that, well, they got this unfair advantage, I'm like, no. It's not that simple.
To get to lightning round. A lot to get to lightning round.
I recognize. We didn't get any better in the studio, did we? We didn't do a very good job pulling that bit off. Though.
We have the rest of the week. Who's to say? Who is to say? What is the CJ Cup Byron Nelson and 31 under par? That's not possible. 31 under par for Scotty Scheffler? What was he at, like Adventure Landing putting? What kind of course, what kind of track is this where this man was 31 under par? What am I missing here?
Well, okay, two things happened here. He got scorching crazy hot.
Also, who's finished second in this? That gotta be pissed.
Scotty Scheffler goes 61, 63. His worst round was a 66. 63. He had two 63s and a 61. It's a real track. TPC Craig Ranch. Byron Nelson was a long-time tournament name for Byron Nelson in Texas.
Yes.
This just happens to be a kind of combination of events that they've put together. Totally legitimate track, 7,500 yards, TPC. Scotty Scheffler, before he won his major at the Masters, was known as a TPC specialist.
Okay.
He would regularly win in Phoenix. He would regularly win the Players.
This man's not
These
going
are
to
all TPC courses.
This is not Cheviot Hills.
No, I mean, it's a legitimate track.
It's not Eagle Crest.
But he absolutely was so on fire that Eric Van Rooyen, who finished second, was yesterday he was 8 under and did not gain any strokes.
That's insane.
On the leader.
Insane.
And ended up losing by 8 strokes. To the point where Jordan Spieth yesterday was 9 under, shot at 62.
Woo.
And gained exactly 1 stroke on the leader, finished 4th, and lost by 14 shots. How?
Unreal.
How?
That's impressive. What's the best you've ever shot? Not 31 under.
No, my best score is a 77. 77.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not 31 under.
No.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to Inovana. Check them out online at inovana.com. Green cleaning solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it green clean with Inovana.
All right, we have some actual, let's have a meeting. Let's have a meeting about OG Tailgate. So we now know the schedule for the next round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs between the Washington Capitals and the Carolina Hurricanes. They're in action tomorrow night, and then they're back in action on Thursday. And then they will be playing Saturday on at Lenovo. And then they'll do it again on Monday. I have that correct. I got that schedule in front of me, right? So we got all that going on. Here's the problem, though. I will not be here Saturday because I'm at a wedding. I got a friend of mine who's getting married, and I'll be down in Morehead City. 5 o'clock wedding. Something tells me I'm not going to be as drunk as I was at the OG birthday bash, because that was like the first time I had a hangover in 2 years. No, thank you. I forgot. But I don't know if I can. I don't know how my phone connection is going to be, because I'm going to want to watch that game. So do we chance it for the OG tailgate for game 6? Because you know my feelings on this. We're going 7 in this series.
You want to roll the dice?
You want to roll the dice for game 6?
Well, no,
Saturday?
we're not going to OJ tailgate on a Monday.
Well, clearly not.
No, that's not a thing.
So you want to roll the dice for game 6 on a Saturday, where the Canes could potentially wrap things up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that.
All right. I'm down with that. Speaking of the After Darks, big thanks to Bloomin' Blinds. They've jumped on board to be our After Dark sponsor. So you'll see their logo on YouTube and whatnot when we're on doing the After Darks. With Bloomin' Blinds, local company run by our guy Chris, a fellow hockey dad. And look, when I say blinds, you're thinking like, you probably thought like me when you say blinds. Like, oh yeah, the ones that have like plantation blinds or the big thick ones, yada, 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 right? I did not realize these things could be automated. We're talking like full on true blackout blinds too, like full on shades. Like the technology is insane.
The room darkening curtain, if you will, has got me just feeling a certain way.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this. If you're watching on YouTube, I got the website pulled up. The room darkening is like legit with the way it's built into the windows now. That you're not going to get any sort of light leaks or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
I'm also kind of fascinated by the automation as well. Like, you know what? I just want these blinds to go up and down at certain times of the day. Awesome stuff. All that can be done with our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. Call them directly at 919-980-9815 or go to the website, which you can watch on YouTube right now, at Bloomin', just with an N, no G, blinds.com. And again, we thank them for being part of the aftermath. Also, big thanks to, did I say it again?
Well, it's my fault. I put you in radio mode.
After Dark.
It's my fault.
Totally different things.
It's my fault.
No, they're totally different.
I know.
Totally different.
Not a thing.
Not at all. Look, we reinvented post-game content.
Yes, no one had ever thought.
Nobody's ever thought to go
Phone
live
calls.
after a game and take phone calls. Nobody ever thought.
No.
Nobody's ever thought about that.
Just
Nobody's
us.
ever thought about it. Just us. Just us. Ah, man. Old habits, man. Old habits die hard. Anyway, speaking of the tailgate, we will be hanging out at that Breeze Through. In the meantime, check out Breeze Through for any of your gas needs. Gas is important. Sometimes we forget you can get gas there.
I was going to say, sometimes just go with the old standby.
Just go with your
Wait,
fastball.
you need gas?
Gas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're driving home from the game. Maybe you don't live around the
But
corner.
we're looking at like 5 straight days of things at Lenovo
I know.
Center. You got comedy show, you got hockey, and you got Pearl Jam. You
Two-
got to hit
two
that,
Pearl Jams.
2 Pearl Jam shows. You got to hit that tailgate. You got to hit that beer cave. So check out Breeze Through for all those needs. Big thanks to our guy, Matt Davis, State Farm, InsureGarner.com, 919-779-8277. He's going to help you on home and auto. You might want to call right now, start that conversation about saving money on your insurance, because you might need that money for more hockey tickets.
That's a great idea.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying, something to consider. Also, big thanks to Roback. You can check them out online at roback.com. Use that promo code OG20, RHOBACK, and you can outfit yourself like all of the young dudes that I saw in Charlotte for the Love and Life Music Festival. As I told Joe, it's like I saw a bunch of Jackson Giglio clones in terms of outfits. They were all wearing their print polos, khakis, and sneakers.
Seems like a slightly scary thought.
All a bunch of Jacks. I was looking around. I'm like, man, like this is the look for the Utes. So you want to stay young? You want to look hip? You want to look fly? You want to have the best printed polos out in the game?
I don't think they say fly.
I
don't think the kids.
I'm bringing it back.
bringing it back.
So
You're reclaiming.
You go to roback.com and get the flyest.
Yeah, shouts
Polos.
to Jackson and Lake and Willis. They're competing in the regionals today
Nice.
at Cutter Creek near G Vegas.
Mhm.
Big shouts to AMAC for getting those boys a practice round out there on Saturday. Appreciate him taking care of the Garner Trojans.
Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, Sara Civian. Check out the newsletter. I actually just got my Civ newsletter in the mailbox, headlined Game 7 rules, never be bad, and other life lessons from the first round. What up, Civ?
Not much, just still reeling after that double overtime. How about you?
I will admit that after the first overtime, I tapped out. I was extremely tired from a variety of being out late the last couple of nights. This old man, I'm just an old man right now.
I hear you. I barely made it, but we did. So here we are, round 2 already.
Why does the West get to have all the fun, Sarah?
Is it fun or is it not? It depends who you're rooting for. Oh my goodness. I had more fun if I have no rooting interest, but I'm watching these insane things happen.
All right, let's get things started with a call to the OG Sports phone, shall we?
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Of course, Carolina Hurricanes going into the weekend before this series starts against the Washington Capitals. They announced that Freddie Andersen agreed to a 1-year contract extension. They still have Kochetkov under contract. So, of course, we got this call to the sports phone.
Oh, I just saw the Kings signed Freddie to another year. I don't understand. You've seen he's cursed. He's cursed. Like, it's not his fault. He's a good player, but he's cursed. I don't know why you want to go through another year of this. The cap is going up. We have a lot of spendable money. You can use that money to get a goalie that's not cursed. This is really simple stuff. Please.
Even the toddler in the background can't believe it. Can't believe it with Freddie Andersen. This has created a lot of conversation, Civ. I can see the practicality of bringing Freddie Andersen back another year. And I can understand, a potential thing where he is guiding Kochetkov to be the next guy and kick that can down the line a little bit. How did you see this signing?
Is he cursed or is he insisting on playing too many regular season games? I talked to one of his former teammates on the Leafs a few years ago, and he just said the one thing that holds Freddie back is he wants to win the Vezina. He wants to play these regular season games a lot. And I just feel like, I don't know, everybody has their theories, right? You see a Connor Hellebuck, and that's kind of a comparable in a way where it's a big guy who's prone to injury, who's really good and really sturdy and really good at stopping these regular season shots. But also, I guess with Freddie's case, he gets injured more often. And I think it's partially a folly of playing so many regular season games, but partially the position you're in. A lot of goaltenders just get hurt. It's also, I don't know, as the research goes on when it comes to wear and tear with goaltenders, you're starting to see more regular season tandems have a little more success. And maybe you have to be okay with having like a relief guy in the regular season and knowing you want to go give it your all in the postseason. 1 year is harmless, but I think that's the strategy the Canes use that kind of bites them in the ass a lot. 1 year is harmless. What could that? It's harmless. You get to the playoffs again. Are you going to go far?
I don't love it, but I also think the options are limited in free agency. So
see, like these things, it's my favorite phrase in all sports. These things do not happen in a vacuum. You have to look at the market. And the one thing that bothers me when we talk about the goalies, and we referenced at the start of the show with Eric Tulsky and the whole Vezina thing, it's not like Tulsky's a recluse. Like Tulsky makes himself pretty available. He's very, he will answer your questions. And he's been pretty upfront about how they view the goaltending situation. And when you look around, what is the market? Like we got money to spend, but at what cost, right? Like at what cost at that?
Well, I mean, Freddie would be the best goalie on the market if he had gotten to it. I mean, that's kind of gives you an idea of what the market looked like.
I think we have to change the way we look at best goalie, right? You see Hellebuck again, and then you see what he does in the playoffs, and it's like, how much can you even quantify or qualify what the best goalie is when it gets to the playoffs, and how do we change our mindsets around that? That's a question. I think the way Eric Tulsky looks at it is the way that you probably should look at it, right? Who can win the best of 7 series? Who can win the most games? Because a lot of it's up to chance when you get to the playoffs. And that's kind of a fact of life nobody wants to hear. But you even look at what a team like the Avs did, where they went and got new goalies, and that worked. And then they still lose in Game 7.
Yeah. So I don't. I understand it. I understand why the Canes are doing it. I also understand why Canes fans are annoyed by this because of all of the things that the caller just pointed out, or what I'll see on social media, what you will see on social media. Like, I think part of the issue, we see this in sports all the time. We know what these guys are by now. And when you know what they are, you focused on the negative aspects of it rather than the potential of somebody else coming in here and saving the day. Of
Yeah.
course, my
Like a
argument.
relationship.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I always tell the kids, the goal of a marriage is to find somebody who will put up with your bullshit in the same way that you can put up with their bullshit. And if you can both agree that we can tolerate each other's bullshit, hey, this will work out. Well, I kind of feel that way with the Canes and the goaltending right now. They understand what they have. So let's build out everything else, which gets to this upcoming series with the Washington Capitals and the arc for Andrei Svechnikov. Civ, it's here.
I mean, he's finally fully healed from his ACL, right? And you can just tell, you look at, oh, what is he, not have the it factor? No, that man grew up eating on the same plate as his brother, and they're like trying to he wants it more than anyone. He didn't just randomly not have it. It's like it takes a lot to recover from an ACL injury, and you're seeing exactly what he's doing in the first round. That's like, okay, he's back. Is he going to let emotions take over this time with the Ovechkin of it all? I hope not, because he has that temper, right? But he has that will to win. And it looks like he's finally trending up. So I want to see him score more goals. I want to see him on the first line. He takes shots and makes things happen for Aho. You know what I mean? Like Aho's waiting for somebody to do that alongside him. He comes in and does that. He doesn't want to make his opportunity to go to waste. And I want to see that happen again in round 2.
Was the way that he played your primary takeaway from the Hurricanes win in round 1 over the Devils?
I'd say so. I mean, you got Aho's consistency, but we already knew that. I think, Andersen, if he didn't go down, that was so enticing to see what he was going to do. I think also the Canes sticking to their game, right? And finally, like how easy it was to beat the Devils, right? The Devils gave up on themselves before the series even began. So it's going to be a lot harder in the second round for both Washington and Carolina because they both had the easiest first round exits to beat.
Where did all this Capitals offense come from? I know you don't want me to pick on Svech, but they have a fucking defenseman who scored as many goals as Andrei Svechnikov did this year. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all. And it's not even a defenseman I've heard of. Like if it was Carlson, I'd be like, oh, okay, I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Chick run? Who the fuck is Jacob Chick run?
It's the system, and I think it's giving these elite. I mean, he's been good with what was he with the Senators, and they decide to trade him, and then that goes to hell, and then he's stuck, and then it's like Pierre-Luc Dubois too. He's having success. It's these guys that like had been put in systems that were more like the Canes, and now they get to the Capitals where it's kind of like shot selection is king, where you're going to have down years where the negative goal differential when they got to the first round, but they brutally lost. Now their shooting percentages up and they are having like good shot selection. They're not going to pepper you with shots, but they're going to have the ones that kind of break through. And you're seeing that with kind of Connor McMichael, Chikrin, obviously Ovechkin. It's kind of suited to Ovechkin's game where you see the inevitable happening, but they still get it done when they're at their best. When they're at their worst, that's not happening and it looks brutal, but they're making it happen this year. It's a little bit of luck for sure.
I know in the Substack that you put out today, it was some shenanigans left over from 2019. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. And there are some connections here. Obviously, the biggest one being Andrei Svechnikov and Alexander Ovechkin. And I know Maniscalco pointed this out last week when they wrapped things up. I'm more curious. This seems more skill v skill at this point. The one thing that bothered me about the New Jersey Devils series is that the Devils knew they were overmatched. So they started getting into the shenanigans and they started getting annoying like Timo Meier. And we saw what happened with Freddie Andersen. Do you expect this to be a clean series or will we get some more of those dramatics?
I think the dramatics are inevitable when you got Tom Wilson, but
But this is a different Tom Wilson.
He looks better than ever. And he even said at one of the post games, I should just shut up sometimes. And then he comes up and puts a game altering or a series altering game where he has the huge hit on Alexander Carrier. And then he goes on to have an empty netter. Like he looks dialed in at 31. Like he's finally grown up, but he's still, it's like the grown up to still having that edge ratio, and he's had a career year when it came to points. So I think he's on his BS, if you will. And I think the Hurricanes need to know that. And I think that's where 2019 comes to their advantage, where they've seen this film before and they should know how to look beyond it. They can't let him get in their heads. And they have somebody who's more quiet, but as effective in that pesky way in Seth Jarvis.
How long ago was 2019, Sid? Well, look at your
I don't
screen there.
know.
Look at this lineup from 2019.
Wow. Oh, Turbo.
Yeah,
Greg
for those
McKegg.
who are not watching on YouTube, the lineup was Niederreiter, Aho, Teravainen, Fogile, Stahl, Williams, McGinn, Walmark, and I don't even remember Manalenin. I don't remember that. Martinook, Greg McKegg, my guy, and Brown. And I'm barely remembering Brown at this point. So, and yeah, Slavin and Falk. The Falk thing threw me off because my timeline in my head, like Falk was not part of the whole bunch of jerks, the return, all this other kind of stuff. I thought he had already moved on to St. Louis at that point. So when I was
Speaking of Sarah's one more year,
right. So when I was going back through some old NNO photos from the 2019 series, I'm like, there's Justin's signature stash. Oh, okay. Like, oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot he was on that team. Time flies, Siv.
He had that epic out of the box goal.
Yeah, the sneaky
That was a
peek.
good one. And then he said, bye, I'm out of here. Here's Joel Edmondson. Do your best.
Trevor Van Riemsdyk now playing for the Capitals. Kirk Muller, before your time. I know people are going to be sentimental about seeing Kirk Muller.
Who's going to be sentimental about seeing Kirk Muller?
Hurricanes fans will find a way to be sentimental about the worst periods ever.
They're still shouting Gleason during the anthem.
At least he's on the staff, you know?
So
at least he's on the
stupid.
staff. All right. So one thing I wanted to focus on before we say goodbye, and that was the shot selection and things like that, and what Washington does well. And I know you kind of touched on this, and I think I can already predict the consternation of what's going to happen with Canes fans. They're going to get a bunch of shots. They're not going to go in, and Alexander Ovechkin will have 2 shots and one of them will go in, or he'll have 3 shots and 2 of them will go in. This is just kind of the nature of the series between these two teams.
You just have to, and that's what it's all going to be about for the Canes, is just surviving that, right? Knowing that's an inevitability. That's how this guy becomes the greatest scorer of all time. He just does it, and everybody knows where he's going to do it. He just does it. Don't let it get you off your game. You have to keep taking these shots. You have to keep doing exactly what you do. It's too late in the game, and it's too late in kind of Rod Brindamore's tenure and in this whole structure to change that. And it has worked out pretty well for you 6 out of 7 times. So keep it going. Just like keep it going.
That's the part that I find interesting too, because like you had the little subheadline, or like, you know, prove that you're actually good, that you're not a byproduct of your first round series. Of course, as we saw with hockey, it doesn't really matter. You can get got at any time. I do think that the Canes still are in a weird sort of prove it mode with the Mikko Rantanen trade with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And we've talked about that. I think it's a recurring theme here. Go prove that you're good. I think the Canes are absolutely locked into that mindset. But on the flip side of that, and I was guilty of this, I thought Washington was going to be an easy out because of all the time spent and the energy spent around Ovechkin for the chase. And that was the focus. And I think we forgot, oh, wait, no, Washington is actually really good too.
I feel like, and I'm going to pat myself on the back, I am the only one who said they're actually good. I feel like everybody, and part of it's like Habs Canadian bias or whatever. And you know what? They kept it within a goal in the third period in every game except one, the Habs. So I feel like you do have to hand it to them. These games were way closer than the scoreboards indicate. And the Caps have left their feet off the gas in the third period. So if the Hurricanes are going to pounce, do it in the third period. But the Canes have been good at coming back too. So that should be pretty good. It bodes well for them. But at the same time, Alex Ovechkin loves the game of hockey. And you look at him in the postseason, he's throwing his body around and you're like, oh yeah, he does that too. Like he loves scoring. The reason the longevity has existed is because he loves doing this. He wasn't going to stop. And he wasn't going to randomly, especially after a season like this where he breaks his leg and comes back and has an up year. Like he's just on fire, and he's somebody that like has a Coke and Cheetos before the game and is fine. Like he's one of those. So it wasn't going to be hard for him, or he would be bad. Like he is an easy, fun type player. So you got to make him hate it.
Which I think is what this series is about. You know, everyone had this awakening during the Four Nations about Jacob Slavin. And of course, the fucking instant he leaves the ice, Connor McDavid scores the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
I see this series being a lot like that. Like, if you don't think Rod's going to have Slavin out there every single time, forget the forward matchup bullshit, right? Like, if you don't think Slavin's going to be out there every time Ovechkin's out there, you're fucking crazy.
And you have to. You saw the Kings and the Oilers. The Kings' implosion was because their bench was the shortest bench in the postseason, and it was kind of ridiculous. So you gotta put your best players, and you have to have a Jacob Slavin, and you do. So that's good.
Sara Civian, check out the Substack, the Civ Report. I subscribe. It's a fun read.
Just don't wear the jacket.
Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about that Celtics jacket, but
you got to let me get this. You got to let me have this. You know I love the Canes, and you know we need Jason Tatum, and he's a North Carolina guy. So let's go.
Okay. Fair enough. We'll let it slide. Thanks, Civ.
Thank you.
We just took a hockey break with Sara Civian.
Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
Take a lunch break. Go on down to the Smoky Hollow area of downtown Raleigh, right across from the Publix, and there is a pop-up that's taking place right now with our friends at Happy and Hale. $10 for a bowl.
You can't get $10 for lunch, let alone delicious and nutritious. Help yourself. Smoky Hollow downtown. Go check them out.
And of course, they got their main locations in North Hills. They got one out in North Raleigh. They got Durham. Download the app. You can order ahead of time, pick it up, and go for your own break. And when you do that, make sure you use the promo code OG25 to save 25% off your order for one time. Take a screen grab of that, send it to us, and you can be in the running for the Black Metal card, which gets you 20% off for life. Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. Big thanks to them for last week for the OG birthday bash at Shady's. Did you know you could have things like a rehearsal dinner at Shady's?
I actually didn't until I saw the unbelievable job they did the next day.
They look like a great spot.
Yeah.
So you can do all sorts of events at Shady's if you'd like. In the meantime, you need some attorneys and counselors all across the state. Whitaker and Hamer can help you out with that. All your legal needs. So check them out online at wh.lawyer. Speaking of Garner, the sign is up. It was, I saw it. It took me back to my practices at the Polar Ice. Hometown Realty. Check them out. myhtr.com. It seems like new home construction's going up all over the place all the time. Something's getting torn down. Something's going up. A lot of these builders have incentives, and our friends at Hometown Realty can help you out understanding where these incentives are coming from, which builders to work with. They know. It's all that experience. So buy and sell with confidence. Go check out myhtr.com. And speaking of buying a home, the rates are not ideal, but you know what? That's okay, because with Miller Lending, you're not paying closing costs. So if your situation changes or the rates come down, you can just refinance again, and you're not sweating all this money you just paid up front to get a rate that's slightly lower, maybe saving you $40 a month or whatever it is. That's an 8-year proposition to break even on average. So don't play that game. Just go ahead and refinance with Miller Lending, or finance your home with Miller Lending, and you can refinance in the future, or Joe, you're locking this down today.
Mm-hmm. Credit card debt. Got to get rid of it.
Yep.
So you got to use your number one asset. That's your home. Miller Lending can help you refi, cash out refi, any of the other options that get you out of those 28%.
Yikes, indeed. So yes, that rate is going to be a hell of a lot better than a credit card rate. So consolidate your debt. Contact them today. MillerLending.com/the OG, or call them directly at 919-447-3377. Tell them we sent you, and guess what? Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket can be yours. So go check them out. That is MillerLending.com/the OG, or 919-447-3377. Is it finally time to get some sort of Today in Bill Belichick graphic or intro or something like that?
Yes. We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. Do your job.
Every day, man.
We're on to Cincinnati.
Every day. Well, the latest...
We're not going to talk about that.
Well, we're going to talk about how Bill Belichick apparently is now hiring outside PR help. So this was from ProFootballTalk.com, Mike Florio. Bill Belichick seems to know that his current publicity plan isn't working. For multiple sources, Belichick has been talking to at least one experienced PR specialist in the hopes of boosting his book tour and or the overall interest of the North Carolina football program. I'm thinking it's mostly about his book. I don't really get the sense that he cares about promoting North Carolina football right now. Belichick has been having conversations with former Bears VP of Communications, Brandon Faber. The discussions have been occurring for a couple of months. For now, however, nothing has been completed or formalized. The potential assignment encompasses working directly for North Carolina and or assisting Belichick with non-UNC matters like his book. This is all because of Jordan Hudson, who is his de facto publicist, something that Bill Belichick even said in a statement through official university channels that he's got a both personal and professional relationship with Jordan Hudson. But Joe, the week was so bad. I can give you 2 examples of where we're at with the Bill Belichick discourse. It's one thing if John Mulaney makes fun of you on a Netflix show that maybe a lot of people aren't watching. It's another when Saturday Night Live decides to take their, whether you think Saturday Night Live is funny or not is immaterial. It usually, when it hits Saturday Night Live, it's like the same index that I would make a point of when it comes to like the Today Show or Good Morning America. Once you hit that morning show circuit, everybody knows about it and it's a wrap. It's a thing. You can't undo it. Saturday Night Live fits that bill. So they were doing another one of these Trump White House bits, and he's signing all these executive orders, and we're not 20 seconds into the cold open, and we get this.
Well done, sir. Sir, this order will make it socially acceptable for a man in his 70s to date a 24-year-old.
That's right. We're calling it the Belichick Law. We're going to make girlfriends young again, okay? Old men can now date far younger women. We like that. It's hot. But in reverse, it's quite disgusting, right? Very Dateline, you know?
Okay. Making matters worse. Peter King. What if I told you Peter King
Out of retirement?
He was on with Richard Deitch, the sports media podcast that Richard Deitch does for The Athletic. If I say Peter King, would you consider Peter King one to spit hot takes, sound mad?
No. Peter King was the king of the ride along, Mr. Information.
Right.
Let me help you tell your story.
Now, mind you, Peter King and Bill Belichick do not see eye to eye. You can go look up the stories about how Peter King essentially was frozen out by Bill Belichick.
Everybody was.
At some point, everybody's been frozen out, right? So again, this was aggregated by Pro Football Talk. This is Peter King talking about the promotional tour for the Belichick book. In general, if you're going to be promoting a book or you're going to be doing interviews, you can't be the sullen, disinterested person that Bill Belichick was for CBS. You just shouldn't do it then. Why do it? So the impact is, does King think the juxtaposition would have on potential buyers of the book? Anyone who watched that piece, look, I'm just saying for me, if I'm watching that, I'm not buying this idiot's book. Why would I buy this guy? I hate this guy. This is the impression that I get. He's going in about the Navy sweater and all this other kind of stuff and how disinterested he is about talking about anything else. So the book seems to be bombing.
What year is it? I keep coming back to this.
Sally Jenkins wrote a review of this book for the Washington Post, and she's just like, there's nothing interesting here other than high school football gym levels of like, do your job and all this other kind of stuff. It's all very boring football stuff from Belichick. So even the review from Sally tried to come at it from a very objective point of view. She's like, I don't know who this book is for exactly.
Well, the person who thinks they can make money in 2025 by selling books is a 73-year-old. That's exactly who thinks that they're going to make some sort of windfall selling
you're stuck
a tell-all book.
You're stuck on this book thing, and I'm like, everybody puts out a book.
It's 2025, dude.
I know, but everybody puts out a book.
You're not making money off of a fucking book in 2025.
Now, they make the money from the advance of writing the book. That's where they got the money from.
Sure.
So...
yeah, you know what the problem is?
Yeah.
She's got $7 million in real estate holdings. Where'd that come from?
I don't know.
Huh. Weird.
I don't know. You think
you got to sell some. These are the kind of people who sell books. Like I just went from making $25 million with the Patriots. I'm only making 10 at Carolina. So what do I need to do? I better sell some books, some tag-alongs, some sex toys, you name it. You better start selling it to get her to the lifestyle she's become accustomed to in short time here.
The book comes out tomorrow.
Oh, can't wait.
You want to get it? Should I get it on Kindle?
Please don't use any OG money.
You don't want me to use OG money on the book? All right, fair enough. I will not use OG money on the book. I guess we're kind of talking about the ACC because, I mean, Bill's not really talking about the Tar Heels.
No, he does not know how to promote them.
He does not know how to promote them.
That would be my number one PR suggestion for you, sir.
Hey, man, why don't you go promote the school that you're going to coach? I don't know. Like, just a thought.
Maybe talk about the players in a way that would promote the program instead of being like, we're on to the second portal.
Something tells me that Keller Williams Commercial can find an entire warehouse to house these books that won't be sold.
I just hope they don't print them. Like, I get it. There's ebooks now. I get it. I know there's new technology, but
TriangleNCCommercial.com. You can call them at 919-616-8681. The Donnelly team could do things like, a lot of overflow of these books that didn't get sold. Where can we put them? I don't know. Put them in a warehouse somewhere.
Maybe this giant staff that he's bringing into Chapel Hill, he needs new places for them to work. You need more workspace. They can definitely handle that.
Maybe they could do that. But call them today, 919-616-8681 or TriangleNCCommercial.com.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Woo, buddy. The sports phone has been busy with Bill Belichick takes. We aired a lot of them on the mailbag. I mean, we could have made the whole show out of those. Why don't we make the whole show out of this?
Didn't we?
We kind of did, actually. We kind of did. Anyway, let's go back to the sports phone, shall we? Let's go to a 469 number.
Hey, guys. Mikey and DF. Does Jordan Hudson's influence on Bill Belichick and the UNC football program qualify her for the 2025 Wolfpack Unlimited Award? This shit is so stupid. Please, just to God, put me out of my misery. Go Heels, go Canes. Later.
I hadn't thought about that she's some sort of sleeper agent.
No. Now, if the way the season plays out and if they lose to NC State, then yes, Jordan Hudson should get some sort of Wolfpack Unlimited Award. We could talk about the distractions. Maybe if he spent more time focusing on beating State than selling a book, then
the only thing that could sabotage Carolina stumbling into hiring the NFL coach with the most Super Bowl titles is the 24-year-old publicist / girlfriend.
Amazing. Triangle Sports. Can't beat it. All right, from a 910.
Hey, guys. It's Bradley from Newington trying to catch up on the shows from the last 2 weeks. And, buddy, has there been a lot to go over. But there's going to be too many calls about Bill Belichick, so I'll make it short. The guy that called, it was a Clemson fan talking about the first families. Yes, and the other Carolina guy talking about misogyny. Carolina fans are going to have to realize their money is not coming from people who care about that. Their money is coming from rich, old white people that like to offshore fish and do whatever else. They don't care about misogyny when they're getting fleeced for $10 million. Joe is 100% about that. Right. They want to have somebody that's like Roy Williams or like my dentist that gives them no telling how much money. They want him to get off the golf cart with a smile just like Roy Williams, drink 2 or 3 beers, smoke a cigar on the golf course. Their wife goes to dinner parties. If they're not getting that, they're going to be frustrated. And that's just how Carolina fans, the money people around Carolina are. They've got an expectation and they want it handled. And they've always had the ability to do it. And I think they're going to want to keep that ability to do it. But thank God Will Wade is doing what State fans want him to do anyway. And maybe we get, maybe they'll be all right. But there's an axiom that stays on this show all the time. If something good could happen to Carolina, it will. And all this stuff could wind up just getting in everybody's way. And everybody thinks Carolina ain't worth a dang. And damn, they spark up and win 11 games this year. So I wouldn't be worried too much about Carolina because if something good could happen for them, damn it, it will. Anyway, thank y'all, boys. I appreciate the show.
That is somebody who's lived that state life for sure. What Bradley is discussing is from the mailback episode, and the thing that I've started to pick up on when I started asking questions related to there's a game that you must play as the head coach of a college football program.
Yes,
and it goes beyond just wearing the quarter zip with a logo on it. You have to play the game in front of the people who give the school a shit ton of money. And right now, the impression that I'm getting, as it's been portrayed to me, is that they're not seeing, Bill's not playing the game and Jordan's not playing the game. And this is all part of getting people to truly buy into football over at Carolina. This is not playing out the way they thought it was going to play out. And they're finding out that Bill, to your point, is coming off as a broken guy who doesn't quite know what to do. I'm still trying to remind you I'm the NFL GOAT, and that's what this book is about. But dude, you still have a job right now, and that's coaching North Carolina. What exactly is going on here?
Yeah, he's broken. Think about it. He's so close to this record that he can't get. And now you're going to sit here and be like, well, now I'm going to sell a book. You've never been interesting at any point in your NFL career.
That's by design.
Beyond the point of you understood the rules. You knew how to meld those rules to your will. You did have the greatest quarterback of all time, and you were ultra successful with him. But he is to the point where he's broken, and he's so broken that he thinks, you know what? It's a great idea in 2025. Bill Belichick, great storyteller, is going to sit here and tell you a story. Just gather around, kids. We're on to what? We're on to retirement, the retirement home. We're on to Jordan's next Porsche. We're on to Jordan's next real estate project. Well, what are we on to here? I don't think we're on to TCU.
We're not.
I haven't even heard a word about TCU.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills sometimes because all these things that are going on, at some point, you're going to talk about this upcoming season, right? Right? I don't even,
maybe give them numbers.
I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's go to a 919.
I'm here on a Friday watching this mailbag thing talking about Bill Belichick and UNC fans. And Ovies trying to put his voice as the mouthbox for UNC fans. He needs to check again with the tickets because according to the athletic director at UNC, they had more requests for season tickets than they had available to give season tickets. So they're going to have to readjust how they do it. And talking about UNC fans are burned or whatever. Yeah, okay. You guys enjoy going over there and watch Dave finish 4-7 or 6-6 or whatever it is. All right, have a good day.
Let me explain something. All triangle football fans, outside of Duke, I guess, at this point. I'll take Duke out of the equation. Let's focus solely on State and Carolina fans. The very definition of triangle good in football, who have been sold. This is where we're going to surpass the other school. This is the guy who's going to get us into college football playoff contention. If you don't think there's a subset of Carolina fans who have been burned by this is the coach that's going to turn things around, then I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing that's different than what I'm seeing. I don't see that. That's great that they got all these season ticket requests, but buying season tickets, requesting season tickets, and actually going to the games because you're excited about Mr. I'm on to Cincinnati are two different things. I mean, we see how the game is played with season tickets. There's the curiosity factor of it, but also you can go across the Carter Finley Stadium where it's like, wow, we had this record stuff. You also had Notre Dame coming to town, right? Like there's all sorts of things that go into why season ticket sales are the way they are. But I'm telling you, if you are of the belief that Carolina football fans aren't burned by the various restarts, reboots of that football program, I don't know what cave you're living in. I just don't. And I would love to talk to a Carolina fan, like actual Carolina football fan, who has seen what they've seen so far and gone, hell yeah, I cannot wait for the start of this football season. I hear plenty of people who chime in through the sports phone. They're just like, I just want this to be over one way or the other. It's May 5th. And we have people who are already over the upcoming season.
I will say, if they have to take 1 year of medicine with Belichick and go 8-4, and then they can go hire the coach that Bubba wanted to hire, it might all work out for them in the end.
I don't disagree with you on that.
You know what I mean?
I don't disagree with you on that.
I think they needed a name and a coach like Belichick to get this type of financial support signed off on.
Agree.
But now that you have it, as we all know with businesses, like once you start doing something, you figure it out pretty quickly.
From a 704.
Hey guys, it's Paul. Dear God, we are in like full Terrell Owens doing shirtless sit-ups in his driveway and putting on a media press conference, media circus with this Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson thing. I'm over it, man. I really don't want to hear about this anymore. I want this. I want North Carolina football to go back into the shadows. Go back and do your 7-5 very, very quietly, and nobody look at us. Nobody look at us right now. God, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Do you think that Bubba Cunningham is going to the next Board of Trustees meeting and just looking at John Pryor with the rod gift face from the Jersey series? Because I think he should. I really think he should just stare him down the entire board meeting. And I really hope John Pryor should be fired for this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He should be fired for this. Because, I mean, they're robbing the university. He single-handedly has robbed the university. So, John Pryor, good work to you, sir. Way to go.
There's the yin and the yang of Tar Heel fans right now. That's the OG Sports phone. Call it 919-444-2211. You can curse or don't. Or don't. It's up to you. We leave it up to you. You might curse when you get that first taste of Two Roosters with some of their new flavors. You might just be like, damn, this is delicious. You might go to a playoff game this week and get the Slavin Sunday and go, beep, because you want to like muffle yourself around some kid. There could be some kids around in your section.
Yeah.
The youths. Got to be careful with that because that's how good Two Roosters is. Check them out online, tworoosters.com. They got the kid flavors kicking in this month. So go check that out. And more importantly, go get it at the arena for the playoffs. Get that Slavin Sunday because it is the best deal in the building. Speaking of deals, bundle and save with our friends Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Bugsbite.com is the website. Mosquito Authority is going to take care of the outside of your house like they've been doing for me. They'll also take care of the inside of your house. We've had a lot of rain. Things are starting to warm up. Guess who's making an appearance? Roaches. Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority can help you with that.
Get rid of those. My gosh.
So bugsbite.com is the website. And of course, our friends at the Butcher's Market, they bring you the mailbag. They bring you OG Live, and they also bring you prepared meals. Let's keep it simple. You got a busy week. You're trying to go to all these shows at Lenovo Center this week. You're not going to have time to cook. No big deal. They got prepared meals for you at the Butcher's Market. All you got to do is stick it in the oven for about an hour for a lot of these meals, and they're good to go. Whether it's the meatballs, they've got chicken marsala, they've got shepherd's pie. They got all sorts of great stuff in that frozen section. I highly recommend you go check that out. And if you're in a hurry and you don't have time to go up to the case, they do have the marinated meats already prepackaged. Grab and go, including my personal favorite, the cilantro lime, ancho lime chicken breast, jalapeno chicken breast. The ancho is the other one, but the jalapeno lime one, absolutely fantastic. So go check it out. The Butcher's Market, thebutchersmarkets.com. All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe. This came to us from a 919 to the OG Sports phone. Eddie Vedder siren sounder.
Oh, are you serious?
No, would he do that?
Oh.
I know. You're just like, wow. Well, let's think about this.
So exciting.
So Pearl Jam is here Sunday, Tuesday. I don't know when they get into town, so it's entirely possible that they could do Saturday, and then you got Monday. It'd make the most amount of sense that they would do something Monday for that game.
Yeah. Yeah, because he'd be in town.
He'd be in town for that. So that could be amusing. I mean, would it happen? I don't know. I mean, I know he's a Chicago guy. He's a big Cubs fan. I really don't know what to expect. If Doug and the crew over at the Canes can pull it off where Eddie Vedder is the siren sounder for
I'll
Monday,
mark out. Yeah.
I will absolutely mark out for that as well. All right, let's go back to the OG Sports phone, back to the voicemail. Let's see what we got here from a 252.
Just got a commitment from Paul Mabia for NC State. Just wanted to ask Giglio if he's still, quote, concerned about Will Wade and his portal class. So how it looks like we can, our bench for this upcoming year would beat any of NC State's teams. So just want to hear Giglio's thoughts on that.
Am I worried about what State has done in the portal?
I guess this is in relation to the reckoning conversation.
Oh.
Right, where it's just kind of there. I think the point that was just being made is like it's going to take some work. It's not just come in here, throw some money around, and get who you want. And the reckoning, if you're looking at the roster, you're not thinking like, well, here we go. Again, this is not a knock on Will Wade. It's just more along the lines of the portal. I think some not expectations being recalibrated, but it's been a little bit of a, hey man, this isn't a turnkey operation. NC State is not a turnkey operation. Okay.
So the big prize right now is PJ Haggerty, the lead guard from Memphis, who allegedly has a $4 million price tag. Okay. NC State is involved in PJ Haggerty. He also has an invitation to the NBA Combine.
Oh boy. Uh-oh. We've seen this. We've seen this before.
If they were able to get Haggerty as a lead guard, an RJ Davis type, scored 21 points per game last year for Memphis, was a really good scorer for Tulsa the year before, 6'3", good scorer, really good lead guard, if you will. That's your bus driver. You got yourself a bus driver.
Yeah.
They don't have Haggerty. You're back in that mode of like, no, wait a second. Looks like you got a lot of good parts, but maybe not someone who's going to be your quote unquote leader.
Gotcha.
So let's see what the final picture looks like for Will Wade. I didn't like that reckoning talk. I know a lot of people did. I know a lot of people.
I was fine. To be clear, I was fine with it.
Yeah,
because
that's
you
not
need
NC State though. Like to me, that's not NC.
That's what NC State has to be though.
Okay.
NC State has to be that now. You have to draw some attention to yourself. You have to change the tone.
I don't like it. That's me. Okay. I'm 50. I'm old. I'm yelling at the clouds over here. I understand that. I'd rather just kind of put your stuff together and then my team's on the field.
Okay.
My team's on the floor. You know what I'm saying? I prefer that to the reckoning is coming. That there's a little bit of like, hey man, I know those legends aren't there anymore. They're still pretty dark.
They are.
You're gonna have to put up with them. Although less now. But only once a year now.
But that's why I have zero problem with the reckoning talk, is because this guy recognizes, hey man, ain't no Roy Williams there, ain't no Mike Krzyzewski there, and obviously, as we're finding out at Carolina, it's not always smooth sailing at these places. So I'm gonna try to hone in on that.
But let's start wrapping our brain a little bit around this Haggerty price tag. By the way,
what is it?
$4 million. $4 million. That would be more money than they've spent the last 2 years combined.
That's insane. That's insane. All right, to a 919.
Hey guys, I got a question for Giglio. Seems like you and Kevin Keats had a nice little relationship, a good little rapport, and you guys kind of kept in contact with each other throughout the season regularly. I was just curious, at this point in time, I haven't heard much about him, Giglio, if you knew what he was up to, if he's had any thoughts about how the whole thing shook out, and, just in general, where's Keats? What's he been doing? What's life like after the pack? Just anything, just curious. All right. Thanks, guys.
I have not talked to Kevin since the end. I've talked to his agent a couple different times, but I have not talked to Kevin. So he's down in Wilmington.
Yeah.
We know this.
Do we want to go to we want to go back to the slushy bar, see if he wants to pull up? I know he doesn't drink. I don't know, but maybe pull up and catch up.
So
what do you think?
We'll see.
All right, we'll see what's up with that. All right, to a 704. This is a text. Now that Star Wars Day is fully established, and Ovies, I know you're over it. Do we focus on Revenge of the 5th or Revenge of the 6th?
I'm sorry. I'm unfamiliar with
okay,
this.
so you got May 4th. That's Star Wars Day. Star Wars Day used to be an online joke, but now everybody wants to do a thing with it.
Right.
You see schools doing it. You see all sorts of now we've gone from Photoshops to really poorly done AI imagery of Star Wars stuff, right down to our president sending out the worst meme possible. It's like, I don't want to get too into it, but like the caption and the AI imagery with President Trump and a red lightsaber and talking about Sith Lords, I wanted to pick up my laptop when I saw it and toss it, because it's like, do you even Star Wars, bro? Like, I actually thought that was more offensive than the Pope AI image, and I'm Catholic. Think about that. I got more upset. I'm like, whatever. Wait, do you even Star Wars, bro? Do you understand that the red lightsaber's bad? Anyway, neither here nor there. So like today's Revenge of the 5th, get it? Instead of Revenge of the Sith, right? The movie, which just had its 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
Can we not keep Cinco de Mayo sacred? Like, does everything have to be Star Wars on the internet?
Today the day.
Can I enjoy my white people tacos in peace with the shredded lettuce and the bad cheddar cheese?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just enjoy that in peace? Does that have to be Star Wars? So I propose you do May 4th. You keep your Star Wars day. Let Cinco de Mayo be Cinco freaking de Mayo. Okay?
That makes sense.
Don't do anything problematic on the internet. Like, hey, people, don't wear a sombrero. And then you then get to Revenge of the 6th, because there's nothing that happens on May 6th. So that's what I mean.
Also
that would
makes sense.
Just leave Cinco de Mayo alone.
Let your people have a moment.
Let me have my chimichanga. Okay? Shout out to Chi-Chi's. Does that even still exist anymore? There's gotta be a Mount Rushmore of Tex-Mex joints that introduced us to Mexican food back in the day. There's gotta be.
Chi-Chi's on
Chi-Chi's
Wake Forest. Was it on Wake Forest?
There was one in Waverly Place. The old Chi-Chi's. Casa Gallardo.
Chi-Chi's was good.
Chi-Chi's.
There's no way Chi-Chi's is still in business. Not a chance.
I'll have to look that up when we're done with it. I'll look that up when we're done with the pod. And finally, from 919, after Kendrick Lamar sold out BOA, along with a music festival taking place just down the way, should we be thanking David Tepper for bringing all this music to Charlotte?
Yeah, why not?
No.
Oh.
No.
You're just saying the bar was so low that anyone who did anything.
Anybody not named Jerry Richardson.
I'll give him credit. For not inventing music, but I'll give them credit.
Now look,
they got some good things there, man.
They do. Charlotte's got a lot. And they had a lot of music this weekend. Now, I didn't go to the Kendrick Lamar show. I ended up at the Love and Life music. As I referenced earlier during the rowback thing, a lot of Jackson Giglio's out there. Because I'm always fascinated by young male fashion. Like, what do the youths wear?
What are those youths up to?
You know, because when I was in high school and college, it was still about the flannels and the Jinko jeans and those types of things, right?
My green pants. Invariably always threw up on.
So I was curious looking around all the college age bros, and they were all wearing golf polos, man. I thought I had showed up to Quail Hollow a couple of weeks early for the PGA Championship.
It's going to be so good.
What's that?
The PGA is going to be so good.
Yeah.
Scotty.
Yeah.
Rory. Yeah. The big boy.
Yep.
All three of them on a bomber's course doing bomber things.
Should be good, yeah. So we went on Saturday because the kids wanted to go see Weezer. This is like a lifelong dream of theirs.
Want to destroy my sweater. Whoa.
So they played the entirety of the Blue album.
Man,
it was great.
For real?
They played the entirety of the Blue album. Of course, my 17-year-old was mad because they opened up with a couple of tracks that weren't from Blue, Pinkerton, or Green.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Dope Nose off Maladroit. I'm like, don't sleep on Maladroit. That's a good album, right? And then they did all like the typical hits off the Red album and all that kind of stuff. They did Beverly Hills. And then they finally landed on the Blue Planet. And it was just the Blue album from front to back. It was great, including Rivers Cuomo shredding the Only in Dreams guitar solo while the rain opened up.
I was going to say, did they play Africa?
They didn't do Africa. Good. They did not do that. And I was actually okay with that. Yeah. I was okay with that. But I was thinking about this. Oh, and Ludacris. This was an eye-opening experience. It was so.
You went to a concert that had Ludacris and Weezer?
It was this festival. So Ludacris was at 7 o'clock.
That sounds like Lollapalooza. Yeah. Did they reinvent music? Music festival?
I think they reinvented a music festival. So Ludacris was at 7, Pitbull was at 8, and then Weezer was at 9:30. We got there right with Ludacris, and I think our kids were a little surprised by the fact that we were rapping just about every song to Ludacris, and he did the features as well. Like he did the 1 Minute Man feature. He did all that kind of stuff, right?
Wow. I'm jealous.
Then Pitbull showed up, and I thought it was just going to be like all of the radio-friendly hits. I wasn't expecting Pitbull to like remind Mr. Dali, Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide. I thought he's too worldwide now that he's not going to go back and do things like the Gasolina remix or Kulo, which he did. I was hype about that. But the Weezer show was definitely worth going to. I'm kind of bummed out. I missed Kendrick Lamar, but I know that was sold out as well. So
that was at the stadium. Then.
That was at the
Where
stadium.
was your festival?
This was in like the park that's across from Spectrum Center. Like you could see Spectrum Center in the background.
Oh, okay.
On the other side of Uptown Charlotte.
I think I know what you're talking about.
So we'll close the podcast on this because I thought there was an interesting conversation around Weezer and the staying power of Weezer with the youths of today. Like, what is it about the Blue album that gets kids to rediscover that album and love it, right?
Okay.
And the answer is very clear. Outside of the poppy hooks and the guitar and all that other kind of stuff, Weezer puts high school level emotional maturity. Like it's on the level of that.
Sure.
You go and listen to Pinkerton where he's just miserable about women and go give that record to a 16-year-old in high school and tell me it's not going to resonate, right? Like play El Scorcho for them and tell like, yeah, man, that hits. She shreds the cello. I'm Jello, baby. It's like all that kind of stuff. So that's always going to resonate. That's why Weezer's probably going to last forever. And they still tour, man. They still put on a good show. Because somebody was asking like, why is it that like Weezer resonates with kids today, but this like emo band that I liked when I was in high school doesn't? I'm like, because Weezer puts it in the most basic freaking terms that high schoolers can understand. And if you don't believe me, Pinkerton's a prime example of this, right? So Blue album comes out. Everybody loves it. They put out a much more abrasive record. It wasn't as poppy as the Blue album, so it was not a critical darling, but it gained popularity over time because once you got older, it resonated with you a little bit better because of the subject matter. And I remember when my older son was obsessed with the Blue album, and he tried to listen to Pinkerton. He's like, I don't like this record. And I said to him, wait till you get to high school, then listen to Pinkerton, then come back to me. A couple of years passed. He's now a junior in high school. That kid was singing every word to every track off Pinkerton that was done on Saturday night. It was hysterical to me.
Go see Weezer like in 2000 and whatever together, or we just happened to be there at the same
time? It was
time?
2002, 2003 at the old RBC Center. I think this was a combination. I think Maladroit had just come out.
Yeah.
Because they had gone 5 years without putting out an album. They come out with the Green album. That puts them back into the sphere. I think they had come out with Dope Nose / Maladroit, and we were at that show. I was with Chris Clark.
And I was with Luke.
And you were with
Jessica.
Luke. Yeah. So me and Kelly were there with Chris Clark, my old colleague from 850 The Buzz.
We still need to get Chris on this summer, please.
Yeah, we'll do it.
He's got to do a show with you.
Let's wait till
we got to get the whole.
Let's just wait until the man has a summer break. He's still teaching.
Oh, that's right.
He's a teacher. Let him live.
We got time.
Let him live. Anyway,
golf to be played.
That's going to wrap it up. We're headed over to the arena right now, actually. Speaking of the arena.
Yeah, Nick Dowd. We got to get a Nick Dowd scoop.
We're going to try to catch up with Rod Brindamore. We'll bring you that conversation tomorrow.